Good afternoon and happy day to you wherever you are in the world today. Welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving Resiliency. I am Iris Denise Owens, your host. And on the line with me is my beautiful sister and co-host. Good afternoon, honey bunny. How are you?
Good afternoon, honey bunny. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And you?
I am doing wonderful. Got a little cold, but I'm good. I feel good. I may sound a
Good.
little raspy, but I'm good.
All right. Yeah, you have your you got your sexy voice going on again. This
My
is what
boyfriend's like,
happens. This is what
he says you got
happens
the
to
man
her when
voice
she
on.
gets sick.
He's like, I got the man voice going on.
Yeah, she goes through when she gets a cold or sick or something, she gets the old school bar lounge voice.
Like I've
You
been
know,
puffing the
yeah, the woman who's talking to you in the dark and behind the smoke and the dark lights. So
and I don't hear myself at all like that, but it's like,
yeah,
oh.
she gets the really sexy voice, y'all. So she's the female version of Barry White today, but it's all good.
But it's all good.
It's all good. So it's a new year. We are so excited to be back. And we did uh talk to you guys last month, but now that we are in the month of February, the month of love, is Black History Month.
Oh.
Be Black History Month, everybody. We love you all so much. But also it's the month of my birth. So yay, Iris.
I know that's what the February we gotta rename it to the month of Iris.
This the month of Iris, okay? So I just want you all to know that. And it's also the month of Iris is the month of purple, which all culminates who I am. So let's be very clear about that. But
Yes.
because we are in the month of love, we really want to focus on love this month. And so, guys, we always have our pre conversation before we come to meet with you all, our meetings of the minds. And so we have decided that today we're going to talk about, and this is a title we are going to give credit to. This was a play that was written back in 1996, a musical. And the title of the musical, it was also turned into a book, was called I Love You. I'm sorry, I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change. And it was written by a gentleman named Joe DiPietro. And so we thought, Stephanie came up with it, and I thought, because she brought it up, and I thought, man, that's a great title, right? Because I think that definitely describes and depicts how we go through life in terms of relationships, right? And we were talking about, so from my perspective, I was saying sometime last year, I had this whole epiphany about how we look for partners. And many of us will say, I'm looking for someone who will love me unconditionally. And one day I realized, because I'm sure, I know I have said that. I know in my prayers and my thoughts and my conversations with myself about relationships that I have said that. But then I realized that that is not something that we can actually execute. We, meaning as humans, right? Because the only person who has ever executed, demonstrated, and still to this day demonstrates unconditional love is God. Because no matter what we do, no matter what we say, no matter where we go, He goes with us, He goes before us, He's always in our ear. He loves us regardless. He tells us there's nothing that we could ever do that would make Him not love us. Now,
That's
we
true.
on as human beings, on the other hand, that's a different story.
But we will denounce our children. What? You
We
our
will denounce children. We will denounce
parents,
parents. We will
siblings,
denounce siblings,
cousins, the whole family you'll
the whole
denounce.
family. We will be like, you know what? I'm out and you stay away. Right. So we will say, like I said, the title says, I love you, you're perfect. And that's what we say to our children. Because I think that's the probably the closest we get to, you know, that unconditional sacrificial love with our children. But there are stages also in that relationship where, when they're babies and we're taking care of them, they can do no wrong. And of course they can't. They're just human beings laying there being cute and eating, sleeping, drinking, and pooping. And we love them. Everything they do is cute.
They can do wrong, but you forgive them really quickly.
Right. You forgive them really quickly. That's true. We forgive them really quickly.
And they cried all night
Yes.
long, do everything for you. Be like, oh,
yes.
Lord.
Yeah. You praying like, God help me, because I don't know what to do with this child, because they won't sleep.
Exactly.
They won't eat. But I think that's the closest we get. However, I think in relationship, we go through, we were talking about how do we know the difference between I like you, I really like you, I deeply like you, versus I'm in lust with you, but we don't understand that it's in lust, or I'm really, infatuated with you and I love you, or I'm in love with you.
There's some stages now.
There's some stages, right? And I think that many a times we don't identify what stage we're in. So sometimes we're disappointed because we don't identify what stage we're in, and the expectations that we have based on the stage we're in sometimes don't line up.
That's true. Because the reality is that you could be in love with somebody and be in a relationship with somebody else. It happens all the time, because some people, I find that kind of especially true with men. I think women, once a man kind of gives his heart, he never really gets it back. It's hard for him to get it back because they don't open up that often. Because in order to love, you have to be vulnerable. And no one's really willing to be vulnerable. That's the key, men and women. But women tend to put it all out there. So when it doesn't work, you get over it because you put it all out there. You know what I mean? So
Right.
therefore you're able to heal, faster. Because you're like, I did everything I could do. I loved him as much as I could love him or whomever.
Right.
And it didn't work. So now I'm healed. Now I can move on and I'm able to love another. Whereas I think that men just hold that feeling, you know what I mean? It's like that the movie, oh my God, the movie with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, The Notebook.
Oh yes.
Like that famous scene in The Notebook where she finally shows up, he's with someone else.
Yes.
But the woman knew, yeah, he cares about me, but I know he's in love with her.
Right. Right.
And she says to, like, the girl says to Rachel McAdams' character, she says, wow, she said, I want to meet somebody who loves me like he loves you, even though she's been having sex with him. And, and it's a real thing, it's a real thing. And Rachel McAdams' character is like, no, you don't have to leave. Like, you want to, she was trying to, because she felt for the woman, because the woman did love him. But she loved him knowing that he could never love her, which a lot of people know that. I mean, I know women too that are in that men love them far more than they love the men.
But those interesting you would say that, because sometimes, how many times have we watched movies, or how many times have we heard that saying, you let somebody love you more than you love them. So as if there is a way to protect oneself, right? Or guard oneself from, as you said, the vulnerability of being hurt. I was saying earlier that I always have a conversation. I've had several conversations with one of my friends who's always talking about they don't like the terminology about self-love. And so, I've asked that question, why? Like, what's your disdain about the terminology self-love? And so his argument is that first of all, love is relational, right? Meaning there has to be two people involved in order for there to be a love going on. And so in relationship with yourself, you can't necessarily, you're not in love with yourself, because that would not be a good thing, right? But we've debated over the terminology, but the meaning behind that is more about you taking care of oneself, you know, your self-preservation and taking care of your physical, mental, spiritual health. But at the same time, self-love also says that you should protect yourself from sacrificing yourself for others. Well, love is sacrificial. So again, it's contradictory, is it not? Because again, as we say, when you have children, whether you birth them or not, but when you have children, you would sacrifice everything and anything for your children.
Exactly.
Right.
And you do. And you do.
And you would sacrifice, you know, you may not sacrifice everything, but for the people in your life that you love, you will always sacrifice something. You cannot love and not sacrifice. And I think that's where the other part comes, is that if you say you love someone, right? If you say you love someone, but you're not willing to give anything or sacrifice anything, are you really in love? Do you really love a person? Or is your love of self greater than your ability, or your ability to be vulnerable, and your ability to be willing to sacrifice your self-love to be able to love someone else or to be in relationship?
Well, you know, I listen to Abraham Hicks a lot. I really like her. But what she says is that when you're loving someone, and you know how when you love someone and it feels so good to you, because it's a reflection of you loving yourself. You know, and that's really what it is, because when you see people that are not able to love, you see all the signs of how they don't love themselves either.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? Because it is a reflection, because you're able to give this love to someone, and you see yourself in that love. That's why you get that energy back, and it feels so good in doing it. And it's the same thing when when you're not giving love, when you're giving hate, and you feel all hate, because it's a reflection.
Right.
You get that same energy back. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you have to. So it's like, to your point of what your friend says about self-love, it goes hand in hand, because loving someone is a reflection of loving you, of yourself, you know.
Correct.
So that's really, really what it's about. Because when you think about it, when you see like that baby, oh my God, that cute little doggy, you love him so much. I
Yes.
mean, that feeling is a feeling that it's the best feeling ever.
It's euphoric.
Love. It's like, you and I, we have these deep conversations, like, oh, I love you, honey bunny. It's euphoria.
Yes.
And it feels so good. And I
Yes.
think you have to recognize that. And most people are afraid, or like, oh, you know, because literally, I do feel when you put it all out there on the table,
Yes.
and God forbid it does not work, you can literally pick yourself up, you know, and move
Yes.
on, because you put it out there on the table. When you
Yes.
half step in situations and they don't work, that's when you feel it, because you
Oh,
knew that you
yes.
didn't put everything into it. You know,
Yes.
I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You know, I mean, you can only be yourself. I mean, not be stupid. Like when somebody says to you, I don't love you, you're gonna continue to love them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Yes.
when, you know, you have made a conscious decision that you both want to be in this relationship, and that this type of relationship that you want, what you're moving forward to, when you in
Yes.
agreement with that.
Planning a
Now,
future, planning futures
exactly,
together,
exactly. You
sharing
know,
your dreams and your visions and your hopes. Yes.
exactly. And you know, we're there. You know what I mean? Like my boyfriend knows I want marriage. You know what I mean? That's where we're working toward. You know what I mean? Could something happen and we're not? Absolutely, because it's
Yes.
life. You know,
Yeah. And
but
we're
you know,
human.
exactly. And humans are gonna human, and people are gonna people. You know, but you have to like that feeling of love is one of the best feelings. That's life though. It's not just loving. It's loving just a person. Like you be in line at a store, have a conversation, and you feel good about that conversation. You never see a person
Right.
again in life, but you were sharing a moment of love.
Right.
And
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, and it's a great feeling, instead of sharing a moment of hate, a moment of
Right.
dislike. It's a love of a humankind, of human beings, that's what it's about. And God knows we need more of that in this world, you know,
Absolutely. Because
you
one of
know.
the things, right, I think, and sometimes, we have to be reminded of this. So it is, we talk about the physical of, we always say my heart is filled, right? And all these things. But where does that come from? And that's basically, right, when you have that euphoric feel about a person or a thing, right? That's your brain releasing chemicals, right?
Right, yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
vasopressin, adrenaline, dopamine, and oxytocin, right?
Exactly. Mhm.
So those are all your natural receptors lighting up, saying, this is joy, this feels good, it's pleasurable, it makes me happy. And so the reverse of that is when you're not, when those receptors are not lighting up, they're going dark sometimes, right? Because what's happening now is not the joy of your life anymore, right? And so how do you know though the difference between I I like you, I'm very much in like with you, or I'm I like you, love you, or I'm in love with you and I want to be with you. I think we go through those phases, and sometimes I think we meet a person, and as much as I hate to admit it, Stephanie Deani Green, we become intimate with people, and we take so those receptors light up. It's like
Exactly.
4th of
Yes,
July,
yes,
right? It's like
exactly,
bam. We're
exactly.
like, whoop. So
You get an
now,
orgasm and you're in trouble.
right.
I'm
So
an orgasm. I'm in love.
all right, so we skip we
Other
skip
step.
all the steps, right? So we go from interested. Because really in the beginning, really what you are is I'm interested, right? Um, I have interest, not even that I know if I like you really that much yet. Because I've experienced, and I think a lot of us have experienced, you ever hear people say, well, I met this person and I had no intentions for them. I didn't even like them, but we've been married 50 years, right? And then you have people who they had chemistry, as one would say, right? They met each other and it was like our relationship just took off. We've been together ever since. And then, 20 years later, or 2 years later, or a year later, it's like we're no longer together and we can't stand each other.
Yeah.
Obviously, we skip some steps in between the like and the love, and next, first comes marriage and then comes baby and all this stuff, right?
I
So
think I think it's time. I think that what we don't do for those, what happens with those steps, you have to put the time. Each person has to put the time in.
the work,
People want these microwavable relationships. You have to communicate. And I'm telling you, if you're not communicating with that person on a daily basis,
correct,
make an effort, there's not really a relationship. Well, because people, even I hear women, oh, I don't have time to be talking to anybody every day. Now, how are you going to find out who this person is? But you're
correct,
so looking for this big, beautiful wedding, and you're
right,
willing to go out and marry somebody you don't even know. You got to communicate. You got to like make time for each other. You know what I mean? That's
right,
when you see it. Like if you're saying, like, if somebody says, well, I can only talk to you from 10 to 11, and they're saying, well, I can't possibly do that because they're not willing to compromise. Then to
right,
me, they're not really interested. You
right.
have to make a plan of when are we going to get the time. Everyone's busy. Life is busy, but
Absolutely.
I always say that people make time for things they want to make time for.
And what's
So
important to them.
exactly, like my mentor always says that Michelle, Barack always has time for Michelle. So you're gonna put the time and effort in, and like it's so true. If a man is really interested in you, he's gonna make your way. He's gonna make a way to let you know. He'll drive that hour to see you once a week,
He'll
twice a week.
cross, he'll cross the shores, right? He'll go
He
across the
will.
pond and back, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Same
I
thing
know.
with the woman. If she
Exactly.
really wants to be
We're
with
gonna
you,
work it out.
she
I,
will
I,
work
I
it
really
out. People will move pieces in their life. That should tell you a lot about a person when or the potential of a relationship going on between. Now, are there guarantees? Absolutely not.
there's
And the
no
reason
guarantee.
for that is there are no guarantees, because why? We are human, and we are all, what does that little thing say on prices are subject to change? Well, humans are really subject to change.
Ossie Davis, he was married to Ruby D, and like Valentine's Day cover on
Yes,
Ebony magazine years ago. And
yes,
one thing he said, love is not for cowards.
right.
You know what I mean? And it's not. He said, Ruby should tell me I'm leaving you. She said, you can leave me anytime you want. Just take me with you when you go.
Exactly. And he meant that thing. And he
Yeah,
always said that. He
yes.
always
So
said that.
so if it's not for the faint of heart, it's definitely not for the faint of
No.
heart. But you have to put the energy in. I don't know that, and I do really feel, and I know it's we're in the 21st century, but women chasing men, I think is the worst things you could ever do. It's nothing ever good about. Could like have men chase men, got married, whatever, but it because the man has to get on one knee. I still believe it's a man's job to get on one knee. To chase a man, that's how men are built. Men are built to be hunters. You know, for your woman to change that, you put yourself in a position that you don't want to be in. It's nothing good about that.
Well, I tend to, so yes and no, right? But I agree with you. I don't think anybody should chase anybody. How about that? I don't think that.
I think that that's why we do ourselves a disservice because a man, when you really think about it, if you just think about everything that you know about your relationships with people in your family, you talk to these women that have been married X amount of years, and I know I saw her and I knew she was going to be my wife. Don't even know the woman because
Yeah, but
and
things were so much different back then, and we operate
but even
so
now,
much differently
like,
now.
but it's still even talk to women now. I could talk to somebody 10 years from now, or 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I saw her and I knew she was the one. I just say
Yeah,
it to people.
I no, I agree with you on
And
that,
not
but
to
I'm
mention,
saying
mind you, they
I
didn't
don't
they didn't
think
even
people,
go
I
for
still
her.
don't think people should chase people. I think the word chasing means I
Well,
am
I mean,
I'm
not say literally
injecting
chasing,
myself
but,
into your
but
space without you inviting me.
well,
And
I
so
mean, well, like let
chasing
me tell you, I'm
means,
not saying in a crazy way. It's like a man, you're single, a man sees you and he asks you like, "Oh, are you single? Can I have your number?" Like that's what I'm talking about. You give your number, and then you guys have some conversation, and you weren't thinking about him, but he saw you. Maybe he saw you every day for a year, but just got the nerve finally to talk to you. He's gonna keep
got
talking
that
to you.
part.
He'll be like, like, oh, this is a nice guy. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That not literally, but he came to you in your space, and you open up by giving your phone number, or I'll meet you at Starbucks. We can sit down and have a conversation, whatever, to kind of like get to know each other. I think that what's happening in this situation now is people are jumping into the bed so quickly, not even knowing who it is, thinking also, like you said, all the receptors are going off, that we're in
Right.
love, but you don't even know who this person is. But I think when a man like you see it all the time, even in the celebrity world. It's like you've been with this person for like 10 years, and then you marry this person like in 6 months, and now you've been married for 20 years because
Right.
I just feel like you cannot convince a person. You can, but is it going to work out? You can't convince a person, oh, you need to love me and marry me. They either love you and want to marry you, you want to marry them, or they don't. But you can't make somebody love you if they don't. But I think people are
No,
trying to make these microwavable relationships and like, I'm gonna go chase him. I seen him, he got a nice body. I'm gonna go get this man. Yes, you can get him. Yes, you can have him for a night or whatever. And you may able to get, but it's always gonna be that way. I don't think, I mean, it is an exception to every rule, don't get me wrong. But I'm
yes.
just saying that it's not a good place for us as women to always put ourselves in.
No, and I agree with you. There should still be some diplomacy, but I think also, sometimes from a man's point of view, the whole ask, if you ever interview men about the whole dating process, the whole, some men will say, yeah, I saw her and yes, I knew she was the one, but I was still intimidated by her. I didn't know how to approach her without coming across as if I was being aggressive, right? Or, or chasing her or, again, injecting myself into her space. And then there are women who are like, I saw him and I knew, like you said, I knew that he was going to be my husband, right? I've met couples who have said that, right? And they're together, or they were together, or they're still together today, whatever the case may be. So my thing is like, when but realizing that it's more rejection on a man's side, right? And on a man's side, it's just like, something as simple as we as women took for granted, back in the day when we all went to clubs, right? To dance and to hang out do you know what it feels like to walk over to a table full of women, period? You, this lone soldier, walking over to this table with 4 chicks, 6 chicks, 10 chicks, or 2 chicks, and you're going over there to specifically address one of them, right?
Exactly.
And then the whole table got a whole response. The sisters who you come over there and all of a sudden everybody stop talking and they give you those cut eyes, those pressed lips, like, why you over here, right? So from a man's perspective, I'm glad I don't have to do that, because that's enough to make somebody be like, forget it. I'm not putting myself out there like that, because that's a lot. But right, men are hunters, and we get that, but you don't want to consider yourself prey, right? So we can't always call them hunters either, because then it sounds like, so they're always hunting for the next, for the next sacrificial lamb.
Well, I mean, they're hunters in many different ways, but it's a different. It's a gentle hunt, and we're not the prey. We're the prey of love. It's a whole different type of prey.
Yes.
So I mean, there's levels to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I do truly feel that I think that I've seen women that went after men and got them, and the man just was there. He was just like he didn't do anything. And then whenever it was you wanted me, I didn't want you. I didn't come after you. It's all these other things. You know what I mean? And you just have to be careful. You just don't want to set yourself up. That's all it comes down to.
Right.
It comes, but you have to do the communication. Communication will tell you everything. Does this person just want you for one night? Or this person wants you for a year? Or this person wants you for a lifetime? It's all in the communication. But a lot of people, even women, they do not want to put the work and time in for communication. It's like this guy says to you, like, I'm available on Friday evenings to do this. Well, every night I'm out with my girls on Friday night. We have to go drink, marry girls. Oh, okay.
Well, but where does that come from? So again, we have our roles confused, because there are times when, a lot of times, we as women, what do women tell other women? Don't make yourself so available, right? You're in relationship, and then they say, or you're trying to be in relationship, and a woman will tell you, don't make yourself so available to him, right? You start liking a person, and you want to be with this person, and this person wants to be with you, but then you're told, you seen him 5 nights this week? No, you need to disappear. You need to not be available.
Coming from a woman who don't have a man.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes our level of advice is based on our experience, or it's based on someone else's experience, but everyone's experience, it's like having a baby. Everyone's experience is going to be different. I don't care. Even if you've had 2 children, 3 children, you could have had 10 children. Every birthing experience is going to be different. It is the
Absolutely.
same when you are trying to be in relationship with someone.
Yes,
And
exactly.
you cannot take all of the stuff, all of your luggage, your dump stuff, and put it on someone else's table when they haven't given you reason to.
Exactly.
You
It's
know what I
true.
mean?
Exactly.
So it just gets to be a lot. But like you said, most importantly, taking out the time to get to know each other and to be willing to share your stuff as well, not to come across as if I'm a saint and I'm just trying to get all of you. I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with you, because we all have something wrong with us, right?
Exactly. They're not
None of us
perfect.
live on this planet and live on this earth, live in this world without having our own level of trauma, our own level of baggage, our own level of whatever it is and experiences. And many
Exactly.
times what we don't deal with or address is, okay, I have trauma from this relationship. And sometimes we either lean too heavily on it or we don't learn from it.
At all. Right. Right.
Right? So
You
either
gotta get
way,
the
we
lesson. You
do
gotta get the
ourselves a disservice. And then this other person comes into your life not even understanding what they're walking into. And that's men and women on both sides, right? And
lesson.
so it gets really interesting. Like, if you don't spend time talking to one another, I think the greatest thing is, when we were kids, you remember when you liked somebody and how you'd be on your mother's phone for hours,
Hours.
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 The phone cord done twisted up, it rolls up because it's been stretched out.
So when you fall asleep on the phone and you
Fall
wake up,
asleep on the phone. These are the things that really, if you want to know somebody, spend time talking to them, right? Whether that's in person and when you're not in one another's presence. But if a person, one, is not a communicator, that's already going to be a challenge for you if you're a person who's a communicator,
yeah,
right? Because if
absolutely.
you're looking for likeness in someone, again, you can only be in like with someone that has some likeness towards you, some
Exactly.
likeness that you can appreciate, right? And many times, people, the old adage, opposites attract. Do they? Do they? Because most times, if we're so polar opposite,
Yeah, yeah.
mm,
That's an uphill battle. If you
yeah,
don't know,
because
that's an
like
uphill
you
battle.
always say, you love old black and white romantic movies. Okay, so if you're hanging out with a person who maybe they don't like black and white romantic movies, but they're willing to watch black and white romantic movies with you, and then you will watch some guts, head cut them off movie with them.
I can tell you right now, I have a man and he don't like old movies, he don't like black and white movies, and he don't like romantic movies. He's like, you need to watch them with your girlfriends. I'm like, yeah, well, me and my girls don't watch romantic movies. He
But
looks
at
like,
least he's honest. But at least he's
oh, he's very
honest.
honest. He's very
Okay,
honest.
so
Now,
that
but he
part for
doesn't do
me,
this.
you can
He's not one of
appreciate.
these.
Right, you can appreciate that. I'd rather
Right.
somebody tell me, hey, I'm not going to do that. I don't like doing that, but you are
Right.
welcome to continue doing that with your friends and how you do. I'm cool with it, right?
Right. 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 Right.
So I think, again, relationship is about compromise, right? And there lies, again, there will be some sacrifice. It doesn't mean sacrifice, though, is always bad.
Right.
But I think sometimes we hear the word sacrifice and we're like, I'm not willing to do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm I'm
Exactly.
I'm not cooking for nobody. I'm not doing what the listen, we all got a role. What's your role? We've had this conversation last year. What's your role in relationships?
Exactly. And it's switches like he doesn't like my cooking. So he cooks. So that he's like, my food's not spicy enough. So he's like, I'll cook. He likes so it works.
Listen, and I think sometimes that's where we get so caught up, right? Because again, we have all these things in our head about it's interesting to me because I think our role identification is so contradictory, because we say he's supposed to do this, he's supposed to do that, he's supposed to do this, and he's not supposed to do this, and not. But then if he say to us, why you not cooking every night? Oh, who you talking to? What? I'm cooking nothing. You didn't bring food. What you bring? What you? Okay, so again, sacrifice means, what is the need of your partner? Are you willing to meet the needs of your partner? And is your partner willing to meet the needs of you? And that's not from somebody's book. That's not from somebody's, play plan. It's what is going on between you and that person. And if you never talk to that person, or that person's never sharing with you and you sharing with them, you don't know what that is for them.
Exactly. It's only through communication that you do that. You know, I had a friend, and actually it's one of my relatives, but they got married. I mean, they had a child. Then the person they married had a child, and then like about 10 years later, my cousin was like, "I want a child," and they were like, I thought we weren't having any more children." And I said, "You guys didn't discuss that before you got married?" They were like, "No," and I just did not understand how you don't discuss that. You know what I mean? I just assumed that we were good because they had a child, I had a child. I'm like, that don't make no sense. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's
right,
amazing things that people don't talk about. You know,
right.
and it's important. And like how my mentor always says, in the time of peace, you prepare for war.
Absolutely.
Because you can, like, how are you going to handle situations when you don't agree? You
Right.
know, when you are at odds with each other, what does that look like? You know what I mean? Because like some people into drag down, not necessarily physically drag down,
Right.
but they you everything but the child of God by the time they done cursing you out.
Right.
And then some people are not like that. You know what I mean? So, and if that's how you are, that doesn't work for me. So it's like the way, because it's respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, because sometimes people come from these toxic relationships, and you get into a healthy relationship, and you've been in such a toxic relationship, you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like.
No, you don't know how to act with that.
You
You
gotta
don't know how to treat it.
you want to make it more. You want to bring the toxicity into the new relationship.
Right. And
And
that
some
can't, it
people,
can't work like that.
and I haven't. I know you never watched Sex and the City, but there's a scene in Sex and the City where the one girl, she's a lawyer, and she meets this guy as a bartender, and they have like a one night stand. But the bartender really likes her, and when she goes off at him, and no, finally he says to her, he says, "I know all that anger and hatred you have about men has nothing to do with me because we just met, but you
Right.
need to get yourself together."
Right.
And it's true. You can't bring all that stuff. It doesn't serve you well to bring all that stuff into a new relationship, because I hate that terminology. All men are dogs, men are no good, and all women are gold diggers, and women is whatever.
Right. Right.
Because it's such a like blanket statement on all ways that
Right.
that's not necessarily true. You have to. That's why you have to communicate and get to know the individual and see what they're like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Once you spend time together and you start spending time with their family, that tells you the family gonna tell you a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
about it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Seeing
And
people in all aspects of their life, different environments of their life. So you want to see them with their family. If they
that's
have
right.
children, you want to see them with their children. You want to
That's
see
right.
them with their parents. You want to see
Yes,
them with their co-workers, because we all have different personalities based on where we are.
of course, of course.
And I mean, and that doesn't mean, now I'm not talking like
They
being
should be
negative. If
cohesive though.
Yeah, I was going to say, not Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, right? But
Yeah.
we all have, we play different roles in the different places that we are in our life. But
Mhm.
I need to see a thread of consistency of who you
Exactly.
are, as you should see a thread of consistency in me as to who I am, because that speaks to the character of me, right? So if I'm always the jokester, I'm the jokester everywhere I go,
Exactly.
no matter
This
where,
will be a
right?
dirty joke here, but it'll be a clean joke here.
Right. But I'm always a jokester, right?
Right, right,
I'm consistent, right?
right.
Now, and there are certain habits that I have had. Like I'm a cursor, right? But I don't go places when I'm, professionally and start cursing.
Exactly.
Because I know that that's not professional and that would be totally unacceptable. But
Exactly.
someone knows that about me will say, oh, okay, not like they, see me one way all the time. And then they're like, oh my God, I didn't know your mouth is bad, that kind of thing, And so
Exactly.
this is why they talk about, if you're going to date someone, you need to see people in seasons.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean the seasons in terms of weather, but it does make sense because 12 months, there are 4 seasons in a year. So if you see someone through the different seasons, but you're also looking at the seasons of their life, like how do they act when things are going really, really bad? Like something unexpected happens and it changes their whole trajectory of life. Do they, fall apart? Do they, become evil, mad, and wicked and blaming everyone else for the problems? Or do they, they may be down for a minute, but now they're up and they're like, well, now let's figure out how we're going to deal with this,
Yeah. You have to
So,
be authentic.
right.
Yeah, you
Right.
have to be, and you want someone who's authentic. I mean, sometimes I can honestly say that in relationships, is that especially when you're young. See, that's another thing. Some of the things are changes with where you are in your life.
Right.
Now, if you're like you're 20 something, you're just starting out dealing with relationships. That's a whole different way you go about a relationship. If you're 30 something, it's another way. 40 something, another way. 50s is going on. It changes. It's where your stages are. You've been married for 20 something years. Now you're divorced. Now you're back out in the dating world, which is like our kind of situation. So it's different how we deal with that. So you more than likely going to meet a person been in marriage 20 something years. Now they're out in the dating field. You know what I mean? So it's like that. So like when you're 20 something or maybe you're 30 something, those people that you're meeting, they're some of them are looking to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the people that we're meeting, they're looking for companionship, not necessarily looking to be married. They've already been married. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Correct.
My thing is like meeting someone because I want to get married again. That I need to meet someone who wants to get married again too. See, that's a
Right.
whole nother kind of fear. I've done
Right.
this for X amount of years, or I have been married twice already. Do I want to do this a third time? So that's a whole nother thing. So it's how you handle it, how you deal with it though.
Right. And
But you gotta
being very careful not to compare people.
oh, absolutely not. Absolutely. Let me tell you, I could do that in my head, but I don't say it out my mouth. Because
Right.
sometimes you
Because
talk
the
in your head
worst thing is for someone to say to you, you acting just like my
ah, ah,
look,
ah, ah. Oh, you remind me of my ex.
look, here's my suitcase, my tent.
Deuces, I'm out. Yeah, you can't do that fast. I mean, you
Yeah,
just have
don't
to.
do that to people. And if someone does that to you, run, Forrest, run.
Well, no, not that's. I don't think you have to talk about it. I think it's something to
Yes,
talk
you
about.
do have to talk about
I mean, if that's all, like I think that if that's something that offends you, that's the thing. You have to nip those things in the bud. Like that's like people let things go on when they're offended, and that's how they go on. With the
it. Right.
day you can be having a good time, somebody says something to you, you have to like, like
Yeah.
don't say that to me. I don't
Right.
like that. I
And
don't
if you're
appreciate
in fear of what you're going to say is going to make that person
it.
leave,
Yeah, let
then
them
that's probably what you need to let that happen.
exactly.
Right.
But
And
you
if
got
they, and listen, even if they leave, if they come back, see, that's what it is. Because
yeah,
sometimes we will say stuff to one another that will make one another go, I need to go. I need to go now. Right. But
uh-huh.
if it's a real relationship, sometimes some people need the opportunity to go process. And that's something we, again, in relationship, sometimes we don't know when to stop. Like if someone says to you, I'm not ready to talk about this right now, right? I need to go walk this off. I need to go cool off.
Exactly. You got to do what you got to do. But it's
Give
like
them that space.
we were listening to that's what we love doing, listen to old music and singing. And we listened to that song Tavares, and that song is like called "Please Remember What I Told You to Forget."
Mm.
And there's a man on the phone that wants to come home to the woman he loves. You
Oh,
know? But that's a beautiful song by Tavares. Yes.
Oh,
But but when you think about that song, they have had a row. Something went
yes,
down. Like, forget I love you. Forget what I don't want you
right,
no more. He's
right,
like, no,
right,
remember what I told you to forget. I love you. I want to be with you.
right. And
And
you know what I think one of the things we are learning, I think in evolving as in humans and in relationship, sometimes if someone says, I need a break, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? I think I think we get afraid of if someone says I need a break, or even if I think I need a break, and I'm talking about a break where not break for you to go do, you know,
yeah, it's kind of what the break means, right?
yeah, not talking about now if you said you need a break so you could go play with other
Date other
people,
people.
then that's different because that's an answer if you understand what I'm saying. But if someone is saying to you, we need a break to process, like what are we doing, what do we actually mean to one another, that sort of thing. What are we planning on going from here with one another, or are we planning on moving from here with one another? It- you know Again, it's a period of adjusting and evolving, because every relationship has to evolve. If you don't evolve, you're going to become stagnant and you'll be stuck. And that's when you get stuck in mediocrity. And so you're not talking about things that bother you anymore. You refuse to share what's really going on in your head because you're afraid that if I say that, you're going to be mad and you're going to leave, or I'm going to leave, whatever the case may be. But the break sometimes is good because the break helps us at times learn to appreciate, is this worth fighting for? Is this what I really want? Is this what I really need? Hence the reason why people go to marriage counseling. Sometimes it's not that your marriage is sometimes in trouble, but sometimes your marriage is repairable. But because we don't communicate, and because we get to a point where we're like, you know what, I'm so done with you. You so done with me. And then we be like, you know what, let's just get a divorce. It's easier. Because emotionally, we are not equipped to handle all the work we need to do.
Right, because it does take work. But
It takes
another
work.
thing, I think that I do feel that in most relationships and marriages, the main cause of those things is having third parties in your relationship. That
Absolutely.
that that is really because by the time, I have a family member now. Oh, because his co-worker's wife cooks and does all this stuff. Now he looks at his wife. You don't do that. You know what I mean? Having other people in your ear, and you
Yeah.
start to listen to what other. That is like the
Right.
worst thing. Or sometimes, like now you have this friend, female friend, male friend, whomever. Oh, your husband don't do that for you. Oh, if I was your man, I'll be doing that for you. If I was this, because they're trying to show up, for
Comparison
you.
is
You know,
deadly.
it is.
Comparison is
It is.
deadly.
Oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. And but people entertain it. They
Right.
really entertain it when you're unhappy. You have to tell people how you feel. You know what I mean? Like, what was the show that we watched? The Love Show that we you both watched.
Which one? There was a few that we
The one,
watched.
on OWN, the 8 week series.
Love is, was it Love is?
Cherish the love. Cherish the love.
Yeah, Cherish the Love. Yes.
And I
Yeah.
know when finally
And
when her
before
and her
that, there
husband,
was the other one that
yeah,
never
I
came
saw that
back.
one too. Right. Well, they both all called Cherish the Love, but they're
No, no,
vignettes.
no. There was another one, Oprah, that was on OWN. It wasn't Cherish the Love. It was an Amir Barak. What's the name? Amir Barak production, but it went off.
Well, this one, but one of the scenes in this one, she said, when finally her husband was congratulating her ex-husband for her getting married, and they kissed, and she was like, I never apologized to you, about for what I did, because she's the one that went and fell in love with her road manager, and
Mm-hmm.
broke up their home, and so he was like, I was so hurt, and she's like, but you didn't give me anything back, and it was just laughing.
Mm.
But she didn't communicate it to him. When he went through his substance abuse and everything, she was there for him, Once he got himself together, he was like, now it's your turn to fulfill your dreams of being a singer. And then she goes out on the road, falls in love with her road manager. And he was, and and he said, well, you never told me that. No, he said, I didn't. He said, I didn't feel that way. She said, but I did. But
Mm,
now you're in your wedding dress, get ready to marry this other man. And
right,
now you're telling him.
right,
But, I
right,
mean, he still married him and he married the love of his life, somebody, his college sweetheart, I mean, high school sweetheart. But,
yeah,
it goes back to communication. But
right,
when you have, I think that on both parts, when there is room for people to be unhappy, other people do slip in.
absolutely.
That's just the way it goes.
And before you start sharing your dislikes or
Exactly.
discomforts with someone
Exactly.
else, you should be talking to the person with whom you are involved.
Absolutely.
And
You
a
know,
lot of times we miss that. We skip that step and we
yep.
just start, we just like, I can't, you don't hear me, you don't see me, so we just,
Right, right.
then
And not to mention,
we're looking for
this,
validation from someone else who has no right in the mix.
and then not to mention that person didn't even wait. Like it's like those people that are validating you sometimes, they didn't wake up with you. They don't know what you look like in the morning. They don't know how you wake up, how you sleep. They don't know your habits at home. They
Nope.
see you out in the street when you're all put together, when you're going to work. They don't see you like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They
So
see your representative more than they see you.
I don't think necessarily your representative is still part of who you are, because you're not
Yes.
representing anything to them. It's just
Right.
that they don't see you when your hair's not done. They don't see you
Right.
before you brush your teeth in the
Right.
morning. They'll see you before you put your clothes on. You know what I mean? Or when you're eating breakfast, whatever. Or when your house is dirty, or when you're sleeping. Someone
Right.
to just love you and you're like you have nothing on and you're in the bed and they just love you. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference,
Right.
But I think that we have to honest communication. But at the same time, I think that there's 100 different ways you could say something to somebody, like, "Oh, I hate when you do that." You don't have to
Right.
say that. Like,
Or
yeah,
the
like,
or the you always
yeah.
never start an argument with you
Like,
always.
I don't like when you do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you just, I don't like when you say that. I don't like, that's not nice.
Right.
I'm always, that's not nice. I'm always like, I don't
Right.
like that. But you have to say it. You have to address
You
it
have to
so that
speak
you
your
know.
feelings
You do. I mean,
because nobody's a mind reader.
yep, exactly. No one's a mind. I'm telling you, no one's a
No one's a
mind reader.
mind reader.
Yep,
And
no,
you cannot say, I thought you knew. Well, how would I know if you didn't say anything about it?
I'm gonna
Now,
know
if
you
you
don't know.
keep telling me and I keep doing the same thing, again, it comes down to when are you going to make a decision?
Exactly.
That means you. Because if you've told someone, it's like saying, and I'm not talking silly things like we get into this thing about toilet seat up, toilet seat down. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about, if you tell someone that you're involved with, like, I prefer, like, something as simple as, I prefer that when you pick me up and we're walking to the car, that you open my car door for me, right? Or I prefer that you open the door. I expect you to open the door. Now, if that person says, yeah, that's just not me, you have a decision to make,
Exactly.
right? But if it's something like, it's a man habit where, okay, he leaves the toilet seat up all the time. So is your whole relationship based on the fact that he left the toilet seat up? And yes, I know you have probably fallen in the toilet and sat in the cold water in the dark. I get it.
Well, you gotta pick what's important to you. Like I used to
Right. You
like,
got to pick your battles. Now,
like you don't have to open a car door for me. It's not like I open my damn car door myself. But like out of toilet seat, I never experienced that with a toilet seat. My toilet seat's always down. But I'm just saying that you have to choose what's important to you. I
yeah,
think that
you got to
we
pick
get
your
on,
battles.
yeah, we get nitpicky about certain things. Like I think more important is, did that person show up for you when you needed them?
Right.
You know, I think that we have you're like, okay, he opens your car door, he holds your hand, but when he gets pissed off at you, he don't talk to you. When he's
Right.
late picking you up. You don't can't get
Right.
a ride, or your car's broken
Right.
down. He won't come take it. That overrides all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think when we get like all that little, oh, he did this. Yeah, but all the other things that he didn't do that you really needed.
Right.
I'm
And the
saying,
same way with love language. And we'll probably get into that,
yeah, oh
later.
yeah,
But
definitely.
love languages, everybody doesn't say, I love you. And
Right.
because
You
a
have to
person
ask, like,
doesn't
what's your
use
five, like, Gary Chapman, Dr. Gary Chapman, what the five languages of love, and
that's
you
right.
have to know your five languages of love,
Languages, right.
and you
You
have
need
to
to know
share
what
it
yours
with
is,
the
and you
person,
need to know what theirs is to
exactly,
understand
share with each other.
exactly.
That's right.
Because maybe I'm the person who loves to say, I love you, 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 I love you. And the other person is like, I
Yeah,
don't
I don't need to
say
hear
that.
all that.
Doesn't
Yeah,
mean they don't love you. You
right.
just got the actions sometimes do speak louder than
They
words.
always, no, that's sometimes, honey,
You
they
know,
always speak
actions
louder than
speak
words.
louder than words. And so if a person is telling you they don't love you or they love you, but their actions show completely differently, like they don't go anywhere with you, they're not involved with you, they don't listen to you, they don't
They'll
they
call you,
they don't
they have
call
time
that
for
they don't
you.
that's
Yeah,
not even a good in like.
right, exactly. They call you every other day, or they'll
No,
call you
not
like,
even every other day. If you
there you
listen,
go. But then they call you on the weekend, like when you come over Saturday night, they make you, oh, Sunday morning, I gotta go to church with my mother. You gotta go. I mean, so, they
and
already tell
here's
me.
the thing. If you can't go to church with a person after a certain amount of time,
Yeah, 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 yeah. If you go to church. If you don't go to church, that's something different. But yeah. Or if you can't
it's
just go, if you even can't go to, I think going to the grocery store with a person says a lot about the
oh my God,
individual.
yes. Do you know how much you learn about a person in a grocery store?
Hmm. Yeah. Being in that person's space. If they always
Yes.
got to come to your house and you can never go to their house,
Yeah, that's a problem.
that's
Because
a
maybe
problem.
because maybe they live in the car.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe, stupid. Maybe a private joke. Okay. She'll mess this one. Yep. That's true. That is so
Listen,
true.
when we are speaking from experience. We are not like we don't we someone always says, like, in the world we live in today, everything is about influencers. I'm not trying to influence anybody. What I'm
Yeah,
trying to do is share information that could help someone else,
exactly.
because my
From experience.
experiences are
From
my
experience.
experience, right? From experience. My experiences are my experiences, but sometimes the the feelings, the acts are somewhat the same, just different faces, different times, and different places. But if I can spare you something, or if we're talking about experiences and you're dating someone and you might already been questioning yourself, like, I don't know, like, you
But
know,
other we give you light bulb moments. That's a good
right.
thing.
That's it. Thank you, Steph. That's
Light bulb
exactly it.
moments.
The aha light bulb moment where you're hanging out with somebody and all of a sudden they do something and you go, hmm, that. When you have that moment,
Exactly.
it's reason for pause. It's reason for pause. It's reason for conversation. It's reason for evaluation.
Or you could watch this video right after you just was talking to one of your girls, and he's like, yeah, I was with my guy for 5 days and he want me to come back over tonight. She's like, don't go. And you on the fence, like, I want to go. And he wants you to come, then you should
Right.
go. But then you
And
decide,
he has done nothing to give you the reason or feeling that you shouldn't go.
exactly.
Right. And so again, sometimes when we're giving out advice, we have to realize that that was my experience. I'm not saying that every man is going to do what the bad men or bad experiences that I have. And then again, I have to remember, what role did I play? Because we all play a role.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
we could all sit here and blame other people or blame our partners for the demise of relationships. So we all play a role.
Yes, we do. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
So, you know, we really hope that today, you know, if you have an aha moment or something that someone, you know, makes you sit down and think and go, maybe we should have a little talk. I always used to say, you know, in relationships, I think it's good, just like you do a annual checkup. I think it's good to always do a checkup of your relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know, take an inventory of your relationship. And that's something we don't do because a lot of times we don't want to know,
That's right.
you know, which is a dangerous place to be in. That'll
That
be
that
next.
is, that
That'll be
is.
next week's topic. Relationship inventory.
Yep. Important.
So anyway, guys, we hope that you all enjoyed today. We did. It was
Yeah. That's really good.
we could talk about this all day long, but we can't.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we
But
got
because it's
things
real
to do.
life. Yes, we do.
We got things to do, as do you. So, you know, please share and like our page, right? You can leave us comments. We love reading you guys' comments. Seriously, we really do. Um, and please share. And you know, and also, you know, share with us if there's a topic that you are really interested in that you would say, hey, I want to talk about, I want to hear this. We'd love to you know, hear from you. So please do that. We thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week. Enjoy the week. Um, you know, just remember, life is it's a new day, every second, every minute, every breath is worthy of your attention. So,
Absolutely.
Steph, your final words.
My final words is, be happy
Mhm,
and third party people out of your relationships. God knows.
mhm.
Keep your business to yourself, basically.
Even when they're your parents.
Yeah, oh, especially when
Especially
they're
your
your
parents.
yeah, especially when they're your parents. And when you want to ask a question, make sure you say it's not. Don't say it's for me, my friend. I
I'm
heard. I
asking
see.
for a friend.
Yeah, so anybody else but you, you know. But really, because you be authentic. That would be definitely my final
Yes,
words. Authentic to thy own self.
yes,
Be true.
yes. All right, guys, we love you all. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you all soon.
Bye, bye, honey bunny.
Bye, honey bunny. I love you.
I love you too.